Alright, it is the last day of 2019. And what better thing to do on the last day of 2019 than to have a breakup? And that's what I'm here to do. I'm breaking up with my 2018 MacBook Pro for this, the Ryzen 7 3700X. And we're gonna go ahead and check it out. Alright, so recently I've been doing a lot of thinking about my MacBook Pro, and it just hasn't been meeting my needs as far as editing. Now that I've started to do a lot more multicam stuff, it just hasn't been able to keep up. It's been really choppy, even when I'm just editing like 1080p multicam footage. And then on top of that, there are certain things that I tried to do before, like creating my logos and stuff, and adding particle effects, and it was just like, was barely able to render it. So it's been a long time coming. And I already have my Windows computer here from a video earlier this year where I installed the Ryzen 5 2600, and at the time I was like, this is just going to be a gaming computer. I really didn't look at it as a video editing computer because I had done everything on Mac at that point. But it just got to the point where it's like, am I going to spend thousands of dollars to get an upgraded Mac? Because right now I'm on the base model 16-inch 2018 MacBook Pro, so it has the Radeon Pro, I believe it's like the 555 graphics, 16 gigs of RAM, and then the Core i7. And it had been fine up until this point, but now that I'm starting to hit these bottlenecks a lot more often, it's just really not worth, trying to upgrade to a new MacBook and paying all that money, where I basically spent around $500 in upgrades on this computer. So I'm adding 16 more gigs of RAM, upgrading to this processor, and then I bought an external 10 terabyte drive to hold all my stuff, and that was about $160. This I had a 10% off coupon, so I got it for $296 before tax, and then the RAM was like $75. So I got everything from Best Buy. I probably could have found a better deal on the RAM, but I wanted it today, so I was like, I'm just gonna suck it up and kind of deal with it. But let's go ahead and get this and the other stuff in the computer. Let's get it. Alright, and now that we've got everything installed here, everything's showing up, I want to have a look at our MacBook Pro and my Windows computer, and we're going to kind of open the same footage and see how long the renders take. I don't know, let's just have a look and see how it goes. Alright, so I'm here with my Windows computer and the MacBook Pro. I got Resolve open on both because that's what I use anyway, so there wasn't a software reason for me to stay exclusively on Mac anyway. And I'm still trying to decide when I eventually upgrade to a professional program if I'm going to stick with Resolve. I was considering Final Cut, but I don't know if I'm going to really want to invest in the Apple hardware in order to make that work. So let me go to, I'm going to open the later case unboxing video on both the MacBook and on my Windows computer. Alright, so you can see here it's already Like, I'm able to scrub through this footage, whereas on the MacBook, as I start scrubbing, it kind of locks up on me. It's not as smooth as scrubbing through this timeline on the Windows computer, which obviously expected, and this thing is really starting to heat up. Like, you can hear the fans just starting to kick on the MacBook, so it's really going to work. This thing, my desktop is kicking up too, but it's not to the extent of what's going on with this MacBook right now. Alright, so it's been like a few minutes, and this is with me just kind of leaving it playing back. You can see the MacBook is really like, it's on its last leg, it's fighting, but it ain't making it. And then of course on the Windows computer, everything is still perfectly fine. It's running normal, playing both clips at full speed. Okay, so clearly the MacBook's struggling. We see that. We're not going to harp on it too much, but what I want to do is, both of these, I want to go ahead and render this video. The same YouTube 1080p preset that I typically use. Alright, so let's start these both up and see how long it takes. Alright, you know, at first they were close, but now the Windows computer's leaping out a little bit ahead, about 2 or 3%. So we'll monitor and see what's happening. I'm not counting the MacBook out. It's been an okay computer for a year that I've had it. I had some other issues with it, which I'll talk about in a different video. And now we're really starting to see the MacBook's thermal limits come into play. It's really loud right now. Clearly it's had to throttle down during the render. So at first, you know, they're around the same, then the Windows desktop jumped ahead about 2%, and now the MacBook's around 24%, and then this is at 47% after about a couple minutes. So we'll see. It's been interesting so far. Okay, so now I can start. I really hear the fan kicking up on my desktop. But you know, that's what it's made to do. It ain't even a thing. It's not even a thing. It's water cooled anyway. So I'm confident that it's really not going to throttle that much, if any, during this render. Alright, and the Windows desktop just finished in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. The MacBook Pro is about 55% complete at this point. So we'll wait. We'll wait for it to take its time to finish. And that way we can have a fair judgment between both computers. I don't want to just throw the MacBook under the bus and say it's not adequate for my needs. But that's possibly what's happening here. Alright, so the MacBook Pro is finally done in 7 minutes and 43 seconds, which is more than double the time that it took for this computer for the exact same video clip. But that was just part of the reason. Like, yes, obviously faster render time is a bonus, but really what it is the playback while I'm editing is the most important. So render time, like, you know, I usually do most of my videos ahead of time, so it's not like the most important thing. Like, I'm not scrambling to get a video done like right away most of the time. I mean, it's nice to be able to have the faster render time, but the playback was just so much smoother on here. And obviously the hardware is better, you know, and I have twice the amount of RAM in here now because I jumped up to 32 gigs on this computer. This still has 16, and then also I have a dedicated graphics card that's not, you know, an older integrated one. I have the 1070 Ti, which isn't, by today's standard, the fastest card, but it's definitely a lot better than what's in the MacBook Pro. Alright, and that's going to bring this video to a conclusion. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and always do at least 2 things at the same time.